Hey super friends, my name is Neil and welcome to this episode 94 of the Get Your Comic On podcast. We're here kind of twice a week at the moment to bring you a slice of film, TV and pop culture goodness from our studio direct to your listening device. This episode I'm here to tell you about a brand new animated series which kicks off in the US on July the 6th called My Adventures with Superman. Believe me, this is not a show that you are going to want to sleep on. Season 1 of My Adventures with Superman consists of 10 22-minute episodes and will premiere on Adult Swim on July the 6th with episodes 1 and 2 and will air new episodes Saturdays at midnight on Toonami with episodes airing Fridays on Max, formerly known as HBO Max. We don't yet know when this series is going to air in the UK, but believe me, I am going to keep you posted because I want everyone to watch this show. You are just going to love it. You are absolutely going to love it. The series stars Jack Quaid, who you might know as the voice of Boimler from Star Trek Lower Decks, as Superman/Clark Kent, and he is joined by the brilliant Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen and Alice Lee as Lois Lane. The trio are now interns at the Daily Planet, so they're slightly younger than you would expect them to be, and they are embarking on their journey into journalism, whilst Clark himself is experiencing the first highs of being a superhero in the DC universe. The actual synopsis for the show reads, a serialised coming-of-age story catching up with 20-somethings Clark Kent, the bright and driven Lois Lane, and their best friend Jimmy Olsen as they begin to discover who they are and everything they can accomplish together as an investigative reporting team at the Daily Planet. Whilst we have to wait until 2025 to see the Man of Steel back on the big screen, it's just a few short days before Kal-El splashes down on the small screen with this brand new series. It's a deliciously anime-inspired series that tackles Soup's origin story from an exciting new angle. So just to say, I've had the great pleasure of watching the first 7 of 10 episodes in the season, and so this review will be spoiler light because I want to make sure that you get to enjoy My Adventures with Superman as your own journey of discovery. The series starts in earnest with the 2-episode premiere, Adventures of a Normal Man, and I'm really glad they're showing both of these episodes back to back in the States when the series premieres because you really do need both halves to make a whole with this story. There's no immediate flashback to the catastrophic events which saw the end of Krypton and Kal-El's journey to Earth. Instead, the series breaks with tradition, dropping us into the story as the young Clark, who will be played by Jack Quaid, first discovers his powers. In a few short beats, the story is really able to communicate that this is a familiar setting that, you know, you're going to recognise the origin story, but perhaps it's not exactly as we've seen it before. Across the 7 episodes I've seen, the series does choose to veer off from tradition slightly. It takes a measured approach to introducing each of Clark's powers, starting with flight and then slowly introducing the classic gifts that he gets from being on Earth and feeling the sun's rays. The biggest liberty is taken in Clark's connection with his Kryptonian heritage. So as the series shifts to the present day and Clark begins his internship at the Daily Planet, he's actually completely unaware of his roots. It's a refreshing approach, and it's not something we've seen before in live action or in animation, and so it makes My Adventures with Superman quite unpredictable in that respect, and I'm really appreciative that they've done something different and not just retread the steps that we've seen many times before. Everything about the series setting is just incredibly exciting. Rather than dropping Clark into a fully fledged career as a reporter, it's cool to see him, Lois, and Jimmy as interns. The younger skewing approach is the perfect entry point for a younger audience to catch the series. So although it's on Adult Swim, there's no extreme violence, there's no bad language, there's no blood. It's very much safe for families to watch. And creating these younger versions of the characters instantly makes them feel more fallible. We're able to see them make bad choices, we're able to see them, fall apart as friends. But then they learn from that and they grow as both their personal and professional lives develop. And that's not to say that they're not recognisable either. So Lee's version of Lois is tenacious and she's fiercely ambitious. She's everything that we would expect from Lois. She chases after the biggest stories in Metropolis like we would expect her to, but this version also has lessons to learn about how far she will go to make a name for herself. So again, you will see her chasing to get that story and, falling out with her friends over the lengths that she will go to. And just to say that Lois fans should be particularly excited for episode 7. I'm not going to spoil anything about it. You can hear me smiling as I'm saying it. But episode 7 introduces a really cool concept that's based on the Lois Lane character that I think you'll be really excited by. Similarly, so Jimmy Olsen is he's a dedicated friend to both Clark and to Lois. He's rarely without his camera. He's learning about what it means to be a hero in his own right, working alongside Superman as kind of this friend and reporter, but also working with his two best friends in the Daily Planet itself. And in that respect, the writers of My Adventures with Superman are able to show across the 7 episodes that I've seen that the show can capably balance both those human and Kryptonian sides, which is just so cool to see. Whilst the trio is front and centre of every single episode, it really is Jack Quaid's Superman who, his name is in the title. Ultimately, the success of the show hangs on not only his chemistry with Lee and with Saeed, but also his ability to imbue the Man of Steel with the right level of strength and hope that fans would expect from the character. And, Quaid has a younger sounding voice in general. He has a slightly higher tone. And that voice is probably not going to be for everyone, but I, however, am not everyone. The shades of light and dark in his voice land perfectly for this version of the character, and there are reflections of Christopher Reeve's clumsy Clark in there, which, it evokes those memories of past versions of the character, and then you have the strength that he puts into the Superman voice, which he's still really only finding across these 7 episodes. And you can hear that defining strength which sets apart the Clark and the Superman versions of the character. Each episode is standalone in terms of a story, but there are serialized elements which span across the course of the season, and each episode is beautifully building out the world around this core trio of characters. There's familiar villains, there are cameos, there are Easter eggs. I don't want to spoil any of that because you really do want to experience it for yourself as you watch this series first. But look out for name drops right from the outset, as My Adventures with Superman really does set out an impressive and potentially universe-spanning storyline, even in these 10 episodes in Season 1. It really does wear its anime-inspired heart on its sleeve in both the character designs and the art style. It's not an outright anime series in its execution. There's plenty of fluidity to the animation, as the series really does blend the Japanese and US sensibilities of animation together to create something which is really a hybrid of the two. There are plenty of visual cues and clues in My Adventures with Superman's potential endgame storyline baked into that style as well. Pay close attention to design language of certain elements that will keep cropping up throughout the episodes, just because it might lead you to certain conclusions about where the series is heading when it gets to the back 3 episodes that I've not seen yet. It's that kind of close attention to detail which is exactly why the series is such a success right out of the gate for me. It's a Superman series which is clearly made with a love for the character and his mythology, but without that kind of reverence that means you can't move beyond the source material to do something original. I really just hope that those final 3 episodes can land the series with as much excitement as how it has started. If you want to read my full review, it's up on the website now, which is www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk. But I've given the series 4 stars, and my verdict is that My Adventures with Superman is off to a brilliant start. The 7 episodes which I have seen feature some of the most exciting and consistent storytelling in animation from DC. Teamed with a dynamic cast and an exciting visual style, the series looks set to become an instant classic. And it really is. I hope it comes to UK shores soon, because people are going to be talking about this one for a while. It's clear to see from just the reaction tweet that I've been able to put out for it that there is a massive appetite for this show, and press that have seen it are really connecting with this as a true version of Superman. And I say true not to discount any other version, but this is a Superman who feels like he's come straight from the pages of DC, and we're not seeing him being kind of distilled through a lens of gritty reality or extreme sci-fi. This is the kind of kooky, wacky, aliens, robots, superpowers, romance that you would expect from, I nearly said My Adventures with Superman, but the New Adventures of Superman, or something of that classic Superman style. You feel like Christopher Reeve could sit in this storyline. You feel like, in a way, Tyler Hoechlin could fit in maybe this version of the storyline in terms of the romantic subplot that's in there. It really is a Superman for the ages, and for that reason, I cannot recommend My Adventures with Superman enough. As I said, the series will premiere in the US on Adult Swim on July the 6th with 2 episodes, and will then roll out weekly for the rest of the 10-episode season. Episodes will re-air at midnight on Toonami, and will stream Fridays on HBO Max, and we'll keep you posted as to when it will come to the UK. Plenty more coverage from me on our website for this show. You can check out the opening credit sequence, you can check out the trailer and some other stills and bits and pieces from it as well, so please do go and check that out. If you have had a chance to watch it, then please do get in touch with me and let me know. You can find me on social media at NeilVag, that's NeilVagg, on all platforms, and you can find us at Get Your Comic Con on all platforms as well. So until next time, stay safe, stay well, bye!